Hi everyone, it's Jason Baskin here, and I'm excited to be sharing a brand new character rig with you today. This is the Mike and Tina character, which is actually much more than just two characters all in one rig. And this rig is free for non-commercial use, so I can't wait to see what you all do with it. So let's get started and dive into the rig functionality. When you open the scene file, hopefully you'll feel that this is an accessible rig. It's designed to be really unintimidating. It's just your basic controls, a super mover control, FK, IK arm controls, and an FK, IK back. But there's a lot of extended functionality in this rig that I want to go into. If we zoom in on the face, you'll see that there are Osipa style off the face controls, and I push these poses pretty far so you can get a lot of elasticity out of this character's face. Got lid controls here for the top and bottom lids, and eye controls. Many of these controls have custom attributes associated with them. So, for example, this one has an option that allows you to turn on a direct aim option if you prefer to aim the eyes towards a target, which I know a lot of animators like. And there's also an option to activate an auto lid functionality, which will allow the lids to follow the pupils as the eyes move around. And there are cheek options and nostril, nose options. There are also lip controls to raise the lips and roll the lips. And the controls were set up so that they correspond visually to the direction of change that's happening on the character's face, but you can also move them symmetrically. The channels are synchronized so that if you select the channel and middle mouse drag, you'll actually be able to get symmetrical behavior. So that hopefully will really help in being able to pose this rig quickly. For the mouth, you can see there's sort of this mouth shaper up and down control, and the jaw control has some extra functions too. You can open and close the jaw and activate a lip seal option for the left side or the right side of the lips to simulate chewing. And you can also activate a sticky lips option, which creates sort of the look of cohesion as the mouth opens and closes. And this can be dialed down or turned off. And there are also teeth and tongue options, of course. Now, a lot of animators prefer to have an on-face option rather than using this side control. So I actually incorporated that into this setup as well. If you select the head control and change the control orient type to on-face, you get all these exact same controls, but they're positioned to work right over the character's face. So I think this can make for a much more direct experience for a lot of animators. And then if you want to really get in there and make some fine-tuned changes, you actually have secondary on-face controls, which again can be turned on by selecting the head control and looking for these custom attributes. So these allow you to really get in there and modify and shape this character however you want. And there's a lot of these little controls, and they can be overwhelming, I think, if you aren't doing fine tuning, but they're really great to have if you want to really dial in that performance. There's also controls around the eyes so that they can be moved and scaled, and you also have iris and pupil controls to adjust the character expression. And if you're at all interested in how characters like this get set up, you can actually do me a huge favor by viewing a new lynda.com tutorial that I recently created using this character as the basis for a facial rigging tutorial. So please take a little time and watch the tutorial and help support this project. Okay, so the face also has some nice extra deformers for bend and squash and stretch. There's one for the upper and the lower part of the character's face. And I'm going to turn the secondary visibility off. And there's also a smooth option so that you can see what the face looks like in a little bit higher detail as you're working with it. And then for the body controls, we also have some custom attributes. I've got stretchy options and an elbow lock option, which can be really helpful. The finger controls have a series of custom attributes which can make finger posing, I think, really fast, but some people prefer the direct FK control fingers, so I have that option as well. You can turn it on right here, and these can be used in combination to really get exactly the hand and finger pose that you are after. There's a nice splay control for the fingers as well. And same for the feet. If we look down at the feet here, you can see that there are a series of custom attributes to control foot pivots. And once again, there are also visible foot pivot controls for those of you who like to get in there and really fine-tune the behavior of the foot. And then if we go down to the super mover, you can actually turn on a whole set of secondary controls for the character so that you can shape the arms and legs as well. And then if we return to the super mover, you can see the various customization options. So different options for hair color, skin color, and clothing options are all here along the side, and they're pretty self-explanatory. The color options are just modifying shaders, so you can always go in and manually modify the shaders if you prefer to do that. These meshes are also all fully UV unwrapped, so you could easily apply textures if you wanted to do that as well. There are some accessory options like glasses and a couple different hair options and shirt options as well, shirt and tie options. Then the major option on this is the additional character that's built into this. I'm going to set the hairstyle back to full and set the gender to female, and you can see that there is an additional character that's using all these same controls, and this character has some hair controls that are specific to her design, but all the other controls work just as before. And here's something I think is especially unique about this rig is a lot of people like to customize their characters. Maybe they want to modify the nose just a little bit, or have a couple characters in the scene and they don't like the idea that the characters look so similar. So in this rig, I've actually included a full customize option. If you select the super mover and turn on this customization option, you'll see that you can actually modify the model directly here, and these modifications will automatically be applied to the character as a morph target. In fact, this female character is actually just a morph target for the male character. So, for example, if you want to go in and modify this guy's nose, you can just use simple sculpting tools and modify the customized version, and you can see that the actual character will maintain these changes and will work just fine. So I'm very interested in seeing what you all do with this. I think you can get a huge range of different options with the character, and all the parts of the character can be modified in this way. One thing to keep in mind with this, I'm going to turn on the X-ray joints option, is you don't want to modify the character in a way that would not work with the existing skeleton. So, for example, the elbow will need to maintain a bend at this location. The eyes do have to maintain this position when you're making the modification to the character. And finally, there are some special scripts that I've incorporated into this rig for space switching, FKIK matching, and control selection and mirroring. So I'm going to turn the customization option off. And the way that you access these special tools is by selecting a controller and holding down Control, Alt, and the right mouse button over the control, and you'll see many of these controls have options available. So, for example, you can select all the controls from the super mover and even key them by right-clicking and choosing Key All. Other controls have different options. For example, the FK-IK switch option allows you to automatically match behaviors. So I can match the position of IK by holding, again, the Control, Alt, right mouse button down, choosing the Match IK option. When you are in IK mode, you can also have some space switching options to adjust how the IK elements are parented to the hierarchy. The default for the arms is that they're parented to the super mover, but maybe you want to have them follow the head of the character. So we'll do Control, Alt, right mouse click, and choose Parent to Head. And now when I modify the head, it's going to carry the arms around as well. All this is doing is setting different channels, so you could do the same thing manually. If you wanted to return back to the super mover behavior, you could just modify that channel in the channel box. And then a couple last features. The poses can be reset by selecting one or more controls. So I'm just going to throw a pose in here and then select these controls and press Control, Alt, right mouse and choose Reset Controls, and it will zero them back out. And you can also mirror poses. So if I am in FK mode and I pose this arm, and then I switch to FK mode on this side, and I want to match this pose, I can just select these controllers, choose Control Alt right mouse and choose Mirror Controls, and it'll copy those poses right over. So this can be, I think, a great way of finding efficiency for creating walk cycles or just mirroring poses. So again, that's the character. I think there's a lot of fun features in there. I hope you all enjoy it and you find it fun and easy to use. And again, I want to ask you to please support these projects by visiting lynda.com and viewing my tutorial, or you can also click on the link and receive a free 7-day trial of lynda.com, where you can see my tutorial and all the many thousands of others that are offered on that site. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing your animations.